So in this video we're going to look at a bit more in the percentage topic, looking at the links with decimals and fractions. You have previously been introduced to what percentage is and also have covered a little bit on fractions, decimals and percentages links. So for your today's lesson, your success criteria is that you know what a percentage is and how it links with fractions and decimals, and be able to convert your percentage into a decimal. In previous lesson we spoke about why percentages are important, because they're everywhere, phone battery, etc., shops at sale time, all that sort of thing. So lots and lots of places where percentages occur. So we really need to understand what this topic is about. It's an everyday life skill to work with percentages. So just a quick reminder, a percentage is simply a special fraction that is always out of 100, and the percentage sign is this sort of diagonal line with like a little zero either side of your line. And anytime you see that, you know that means it's out of 100. And of course 100% of something means you've got the whole thing. So 100% means 100 out of 100, or we can write it with the percentage sign, or it's the same thing as the number one whole. So what if we only had one little bit of 100 squares shaded like this, so shaded in purple? Well, that would mean we would have 1% of that square shaded, because it's one piece out of 100. And so as a percentage it's 1%, as a fraction it's 1 out of 100. And you saw last time that, or a little reminder in terms of your place value, that 1 out of 100, that's in the decimals, right, is 0.01. Right, your place value column headings, hundreds, tens, units, decimal point, tenths, and then the hundreds. Another way of thinking about it is that if you've got 1 over 100, that's the same thing as doing 1 divided by 100. And if we start with the number 1, that's 1.0, and we divide by 100, the 1 changes 2 place values to the right when you divide by 100. You would end up with the answer of 0.01, or you can simply remember the place value in the column headings. Is probably the easiest way to do this. So we also had a little look at this sort of thing where you're working or writing out, these were the kind of questions you had to do, what percentage is shaded. So here, what percentage would be shaded blue. You would simply count how many, there's 100 squares in total. You can see we've got 4 blue ones, so that would simply be 4%, because it's 4 out of 100. For the green, if you count, you'll see you've got 20, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 30, 1, 2, 3, 4. So the green, we've got 34%. And for the red, you would see we've got 9 boxes, so that would be 9%. So that's the sort of thing you were doing last day, was just counting boxes, working out. For today, what I'd like you to do is make sure you copy this. You can pause the video as we go along, but copy it into your jotter. Write the blue parts as well, writing a percentage as a fraction. So just a little bit of a recap on this. So as we've already said, 9%, if you're asked to write that as a fraction, that's going to be out of 100. So you'd write 9% equals 9 out of 100. So therefore 37%, that would be 37 out of 100. So that's how you write a percentage as a fraction. You just remember that the bottom of the fraction needs to be 100. And for writing a percentage as a decimal, you can first of all think about it as your fraction. So 8% we know is 800ths. Your column headings, remember, hundreds, tens, units, tenths, and hundreds. So 800ths means that that would be 0.08. We would need an 8 in the hundreds column, and that's what that would need to look like. So you can try to remember that's going into the hundreds column. If you've got a two-digit number, so when we try to write 27 hundredths, right, as a fraction, we can't put 27 all in the hundreds column, so what happens is you've got 2 in the tenths column and 7 in the hundreds column. So 27% would look like that, so 0.27. So any other two-digit percentage will also look like this. So 15% would be 0.15 and so on. So to quick recap, so make sure you've copied everything that was on that page, including writing a percentage as a decimal. And as I say, you could have paused the video, or you can use the notes that I'll post after you've watched the video. So quick recap, you can be looking at a diagram, 100 squared for example, count how many boxes are shaded. So this was a previous assignment question. So the percentage, we can clearly see we've got 9 blue shaded boxes there, so that would be 9%. If you're asked to write that as a fraction, you would say 9% equals 9 over 100, and if you're also asked to write it as a decimal, you'd say that would be 0.09, right, where the 9 would be in the hundreds column. So second example, we can clearly see we've got 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So 57 shaded boxes means 57%. So that is 57 out of the 100 that's there. And as a decimal, that would be 0.57. So you're now going to practice working on this today.